Hi guys, welcome back. So Ireland absolutely smashed Samoa 47-5 and most of it is with 14 men, so a very impressive win. Samoa have been poor all World Cup, they were poor again today, completely outclassed, so factor that in, but still Ireland couldn't have done much more. Let's take a deep dive into this game. Like I had a big look at Wales last time, let's have a big look at Ireland now. Now they've finished their campaign in the pools and they've qualified, so they'll be very happy. So first thing, the pitch had looked like it had been laid yesterday, but on the whole it was okay, it wasn't as bad as it could have been, so that was fine, didn't affect the game particularly I thought. And 3 minutes in, 2 mauls in a row, really set the tone, shredded Samoa. You're thinking, oh dear, this could be a long day for them, and it was. Try for best, it all looked too easy. I mean, it's a really good maul for Ireland, but you know, it was far too easy for them. Just a note, Samoa really needs to improve in this area. They've been poor in these set piece areas all World Cup, and they were poor in the scrum in this game and poor in the line out. Then we had a yellow for Samoa, which I thought was pretty harsh. Now Lamb, who got the yellow card, he was setting low to tackle Stockdale, and then Stockdale starts to dip, and you know, I don't think Lamb was aiming to tackle high, he was trying to tackle kind of mid-range, but as Stockdale dipped, and I'm not blaming Stockdale because he was bracing himself for the big tackle. The result was Lamb catching him in the head with his shoulder. His arms were wrapped as well. You know, so his head is contacted, but wasn't this a rugby incident? So I understand why it was a yellow, but I'm not sure how avoidable that one is. He could have obviously gone lower, but he was going pretty low, and then Stockdale dipped down. So comments on that one, I'm not sure. That's the one, that's the sort of yellow card I'm not sure you can do a lot about. So, but anyway, they're going really heavy on the head, and we'll get more into tackles of course with the Aki incident. Anyway, 9 minutes in, Furlong power pinball. He had a pretty big game carrying, to be honest. That'll boost his confidence. Going on beast mode, a bit of poor tackling, to be honest, by Samoa as well, but it was good stuff. Powers over, try, 14-0. I mean, it was looking really ominous for Samoa there. I didn't think they were going to come back from that point even then, early on. And Samoa gave away loads of penalties. Their territory was poor, their possession was poor. All game, their penalties were pretty poor, giving away lots of easy penalties. And Ireland dominated the line out, they couldn't get near that. They dominated the scrum, the kicking battle, I mean, you name it. They absolutely smashed Samoa in every area, to be honest. And they were getting lots of fast ball, they were going forwards, there were lots of gaps. The Samoan defence was retreating. Really good Lama handoff and offload, made a lovely try for Sexton, 21-0, and this is just game over completely. And a huge positive, Murray and Sexton look fit and sharp, and that's what Ireland need. Murray and Sexton fit and sharp, and then Carberry to come on. That's a huge boost for the quarter-final, so great news there, plus none of them picked up any injuries. Anyway, Samoa get a good break eventually, 25 minutes, penalty to the corner, multi-phases, some good power and a good try. A terrible miss for the conversion, to be honest, really poor. Anyway, 21-5. Then comes the big incident of the game, really. It didn't affect the game, but it was the talking point, I guess. Aki's red card. Ireland lose the ball, Aki rushes in, headshot, and I've got a lot less sympathy for Aki than I do for Lamb on this one, because Aki chose to stand up in the tackle. Sure, he was trying to wrap his arms, but if you tackle standing up, you're going to risk hitting the guy in the head. Unintentionally, of course, but, you know, it's the danger that you run. Now, Aki is not the only person that does this. Loads of people stand up tackle, and it's a thing that coaches need to seriously rethink. Now, let's just discuss at this point. Standing up in the tackle is a really strong technique for professionals. Now, us mere mortals who played amateur rugby, and we're a bit smaller maybe, you have to tackle low, you have to take people down, so you have no experience of these stand-up tackles. You know, professionals are really strong and powerful, and they know they can handle a tackle and stay stood up and still make the tackle. Plus, it holds up the ball, it slows them getting to deck, it allows you to rip the ball. It's a really good, good technique in defence. However, now they're getting so hot on these headshots, it is much more risky. And coaches clearly aren't saying don't do them because we see them loads. But they're going to have to think about it, because a red card in a bigger game than this could have been game over. Anyway, let me know what you think there. It's an interesting point. But anyway, it's a red. Unfortunate red, but it is a red. But following the red, Ireland pick it up. Their defence picks up. Their numbering out wide is good. They're knocking Samoa back. They're forcing mistakes. Actually, it kind of woke them up even more. Just to note here, obviously Aki is probably going to get a ban. He might be out for the rest of the World Cup, but luckily with Henshaw coming back fit, with Farrell and Ringrose as well, it shouldn't be a problem at all. They're probably not going to take a centre on the bench anyway, so they should have plenty unless they lose another one. So, as far as losing players, they can probably cope, to be honest, so probably a bit lucky there. Anyway, going to 14 picks up Ireland's urgency, and I was super impressed with Ireland for the rest of this game. I know Samoa had some yellow cards, but Ireland were playing without a player for the whole of the rest of the game. And at times I forgot, I had to remind myself they were playing with 14. Anyway, build up to Ireland's bonus point try was really, really good. This was the best try for me actually, because the build up was quick, the passing was crisp and fast. There were latches on in tight areas, getting over the gain line. Murray Sexton zipping the ball around. Loads of pressure, penalty. Choose a scrum, which was going well, and then a beautiful pass from Murray. Sexton sniffing down the blind, scores a try. He'll feel good. They'll both feel good about that. 26-5 at half time. It was a great half. Obviously, apart from the sending off, a really good half. And in the second half, they pick up where they left off. Loads of pace in attack, and we started to see tip-ons. The maul and the scrum continue to absolutely obliterate Samoa. And then 7 minutes after that, 7 minutes of sustained pressure and a lovely pass from Murray again, cutting out, I think maybe it was Earls to Lama, try out wide, 33-5, another top draw try. So that's impressive. Then Carberry comes on, perfect. This is what Ireland need to do. Use Sexton, he's 34 years of age, play him as much as possible or until he's starting to flag a bit. Then bring Carberry on to change the picture, a bit more flair. This gives them a chance for sure. And penalties again were killing Samoa. Really poor stuff there. And Ireland's execution was getting near perfection. Actually, they weren't making mistakes, and it was just absolutely steamrolling Samoa. 56 minutes, more sustained Irish pressure 5 minutes out. But in the second half, one slight criticism for Ireland is when they get close out, they do sometimes go back into their shell and get very unimaginative in attack, and occasionally Samoa really stepped up. In fact, they did step up quite a lot 5 metres out and knocked Ireland back. I really thought they could have practiced trying a little bit more in and around that 5 metre area. Anyway, another basic maul, and I was surprised they didn't go for variations at this point. Was held up turnover. So yeah, that was kind of a bit of a criticism there for Ireland, I guess, but they are down to 14 men. So finally they do get a maul variation. Actually split off early on this one and they nearly go over, but I think it was held up. And then finally Samoa just could not get out of their 22. They, every time they had a scrum they lost. They couldn't win a line out. And more unrelenting pressure. Finally Stander crashes over on 65 minutes. Anyway, they try and get out again, but Samoa cannot get out of their half, and eventually Carberry pokes through a lovely little kick. Conway scores. He's on a bit of a mission, playing really well. 47-5. It was the last score of the half, even though Samoa did finally get into the island 5 metres away from the island line, but then unfortunately lose the ball over the line, pick it up again, playing it on the floor, penalty, and it's all over. Sums up Samoa's game. So 47-5, huge win for Ireland, most of it with 14 men, dominant in every single area. I picked out Murray Sexton and Josh van der Fleer, who impressed me quite a lot. Josh van der Fleer, was brilliant, tackling all over the park, but he has struggled against the bigger opposition, so let's see if he gets selected. He certainly put himself in the frame with that performance. Anyway, improved variation in the middle of the park. I did see offloading, tip-ons, running some lines off forwards, etc., which was good. But again, I think they do need to improve their, variations when they get close to the line. But a huge confidence boost going to that quarter-final. They'll feel like they've got a chance. They will be the underdogs, but it sets it up nicely. So they are through, and it all remains on Japan and Scotland if it goes ahead, which I hope it does, to see who goes through with them. Anyway, let me know what you thought about that game and Ireland's chances in the quarter-final. And until next time, I will see you then.